recording now, and we're good to go. So we are going to have a few folks that are going to share some memories. We'll also play a video of some submitted videos that came in over the past couple of weeks, and we'll get moving right away. So starting off, we of course have President Steve Balls, who will be sharing some remarks to kick us off. Steve.
Well, thank you, Sam, and it's good to see so many of you, albeit virtually. I'm sorry we can't do this in person. We really had hoped to, but it's good to see so many students, graduates of Augustana College, former employees for this very, very special occasion. Richard, I want to thank you and congratulate you on your retirement. Richard Priggie is the longest serving member of the Augustana Cabinet. The Augustana Cabinet is the group of senior administration officials that guides us in helping students grow in mind, body, and spirit. And Richard played such an important part of that in continuing to bring us back to mission, continuing to bring us back to what is best for the students. I'll tell you, at times it is tempting for the cabinet to be focused on the dollar and cents of things. How will this work? And Richard, through his devotions and through his advocacy for students, always drew us back to the main question that college administrators need to be concerned with. How do these actions help students grow in mind, body, and spirit? Richard, I count you as a friend. I appreciate the friendship that we have, appreciate the time that you took to preside over the marriage of my daughter and son-in-law, Angela and Nick, as you have done for so many. Your devotions before the cabinet set us on a good and proper course. And finally, Richard, I particularly appreciate the individual conversations that we've had. I would often wander down to Richard's office as a new college president or even as a seasoned college president to talk about the ethical and spiritual implications of important decisions at Augustana College. What I love about Richard is that he embodies my favorite part of the Bible. Many of you know what that is, Micah 6:8. What does the Lord require of you but to do justice, love, mercy, and walk humbly with God? Richard is committed to justice, which is one of the many things I appreciate about Richard. And that commitment to justice is evidenced by his advocacy and shaping of our 5 faith commitments that said Augustana is a school not only bound to educate our students, but to help our students understand justice and pursue diversity, equity, and inclusion. He was critical in drafting those 5 faith commitments, which have become one of the most important documents defining Augustana of 2020. Richard also and I had the distinction of ensuring that Augustana College was one of the first colleges to bless civil unions here in among the ELCA colleges. This was before marriages were permitted by same-gender couples. Richard effectively advocated with the administration that if we care and love our students, this is what we should do. He's been a zealous advocate of diversity, equity, and inclusion also. That's evidence of Richard doing justice. But he loves mercy also. When students occasionally stumble, when employees occasionally stumble, Richard is there with a sympathetic ear. Richard is there sometimes to catch them. Richard is there to help us see the humanity in all, in our best times and our worst times. Richard, I appreciate that. But Richard is also humble, and that is a great role model for our students and employees, particularly in these days at the national level when there is not much humility. Your faith is not a noisy gong, Richard, but your faith is an enduring presence. Richard recognizes that humility is about listening. Richard, I just love the way, and I can see it on your face, when you're actively listening, taking it all in, and then making whoever you're counseling with or speaking to feel like they are an important piece at the center of the conversation, not you, but the person that you're speaking to. So thank you, Richard, for doing justice, loving mercy, and walking humbly with God. But our thanks also to Janice. Janice, thank you for your presence at the Augustana community. Thank you for your presence at the many, many events, supporting Richard, putting up with his many nights and weekends at Augustana College. You are an enduring presence. And thank you for the friendships that you've made at Augustana, including the sustaining friendship that you've made with my wife, Jane. We love you and we appreciate you. But finally, I must say that one of my most frequent questions that I ask alums, it's kind of the icebreaker question that I start with, is who do you remember at Augustana College who made a change in your life? And Richard Priggie is often one of the people mentioned. There's no greater way to leave a legacy than to be there for students when they need you and to help them grow in mind, body, and spirit. Richard, we will miss you, but I know that our friendship will continue over the years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve. And Richard, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you so that way you can share some, actually, I might need you to help me unmute you now that I'm thinking about it. You might need to go over to the computer and click the unmute button. This will be fun, folks. Let's see if we can make that happen. Otherwise, Jason Mon will be running up the Founders Hill in about 30 seconds to help us out, but I think we will be okay. While they're unmuting, I think we can go ahead and turn to our next speaker, who is a contemporary of mine from Augustana, our time as students, and now she's a member of the Board of Trustees, and that's Pastor Christina Garrett-Klein, who could not join us today in person, but she sent in a pre-recorded video that I will attempt to share now.
Hi, my name is Pastor Christina Garrett-Klein, and I graduated from Augustana in 2008. I came to Augustana knowing that God was calling me to do something, but not knowing how or what or where. It was because of you, Pastor Priggy, and your vision of welcome and inclusion that I was led to the campus ministries family, towards vocational reflection, to eventually become a pastor in the ELCA and to be a board member on the Board of Trustees for Augustana College. Little did I know that all of the campouts, the feasting on the word after Wednesday evening chapel services with communion, the pizza in the quad, and the Thursday planning meetings in the college center would be so influential to my faith and my development as a leader. Well, there are plenty of opportunities to share memories and say, remember that one time. How valuable we were to you and to the campus ministries team and to the whole campus. And then you would ask us to be your eyes and ears for the campus and the community. Your eyes and ears. And with that little phrase, you instilled in us this clear understanding of welcome and grace, that whether a person comes to worship every single Sunday or Wednesday night, or if they never climb the stairs to Founders Hall, that you care, that we care, and that they matter. You were and continue to be so clear and compassionate to those around you. Your care showed up for us day in and day out, whether we were complaining about something going on campus or grieving about something else, or just plain stuck. You always made time to be with us. Thank you. You've been with us at our weddings and at our funerals. You've cared for us in ways that we never knew were possible, in ways that we never could imagine. And so for that, thank you for serving Augustana so well and for impacting so many lives. God bless you and your family. God's peace be with you always.
Thank you, Christina, and also with you.
Wow.
I think Christina really sums up so many of our feelings, at least she sums up many of my feelings. So thanks so much to Christina for sending in that wonderful tribute. Next on the docket, we have another good friend of Richard's, and that is Kristen Glass Perez, who served as chaplain at Augustana. And Kristen, I'll ask you to share your thoughts.
Hi, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here with you all today. And I also see some of Richard's other colleagues who served as chaplains at Augustana, Pastor Julio and Pastor April. So good to be with you all. I'd like to share a couple of things I learned from Richard and then a couple of memories. So we like to talk about charisms or markers of ministry. Let me share some markers of Richard's chaplaincy that have really made an impact. The first is his very simple advice that he has shared with me over and over through times of transition in my life. It's this: go where you're invited. That is one of Richard's mottos. Invitations are holy, accept them. Certainly in chaplaincy, if the chaplain remains only in the chapel, they will not know the people they are serving. And so in his 21 years at Augustana College, Richard has accepted hundreds of invitations to classrooms and labs, concerts and plays, to student events and activities. Richard accepted invitations to protests and to practices, to football games and to faculty meetings, to residence halls and recital halls. I dare say he's also accepted quite a few invitations to play badminton. And so that's advice from Pastor Priggie. I hope that you all hear, go where you are invited. The next thing, the next marker of Pastor Priggie's ministry to me is his signature question. Some of you are going to know what it is. What does he ask at every Bible study? What is the first question? Anybody want to put it in the chat? I will tell you. What strikes you? That is the first question that Pastor Priggie will ask anybody in a Bible study or in a book study. What strikes you? I think that's a really profound question, because most people's instinct is to ask the pastor, hey, what do you think this means? And Richard's question immediately invites the reader into reflecting on what grabs them about this. Where do you see yourself reflected in this text? It is the desperate hope and prayer of college chaplains that students will learn to understand, articulate, and navigate their own religious and spiritual identity. And what strikes you invites you into doing that. I would also say it just might lead to a sense of vocation, right? What speaks to you? What do you notice? What strikes you is a question I learned to ask from Pastor Priggie. The third thing I learned from Pastor Priggie that's made a really big impact on my own life and my own career is his saying this: there is a difference between power and authority. Power comes with role, and authority or credibility comes from the community. It's earned. Richard shares that Jesus over and over and over again gets in trouble in the Christian Gospels for preaching with authority when he has no power. President Bowles already shared some examples of how Pastor Priggie earned authority at Augustana College. He earned authority, received authority when he presided over same-sex weddings before they were legal in the state of Illinois. Pastor Priggie received authority when he convened campus-wide conversations around the 5 faith commitments instead of just defining them himself. He received authority when he recognized the true canon of an entire generation and created the class, The Soul of Harry Potter, which, by the way, comes with a retreat to a castle. Pastor Priggie received authority when he memorized the names of every incoming first-year student at Augustana College year after year after year by making flashcards. It's not his natural gift to remember names. He would make flashcards and he would call your name on the quad. Raise your hand if he did that to you. He earned authority by the community. And I dare say that Richard's chaplaincy is defined by empowerment and authority. Okay, now a couple of memories, and I'm going to title them as if they were Friends episodes. So the first memory is a 2-part episode. It's called the one where they forgot we were coming. Number 1, Years and years ago, when I worked in the Center for Vocational Reflection at Augustana, Richard and I led a program that we love. It was called the Call to Serve Leadership Institute. It was a program funded by a grant from Thrivent Financial for Lutherans, where college students mentored high school students who mentored elementary school students. And we had 3 different weeks of day camps launching in the Quad Cities all through this project. Well, on the first day of one of our day camps, Richard's group, which contained 50 elementary school children, 10 college students, 12 high school students, showed up at the day camp site, and they forgot we were coming. Luckily, I wasn't assigned to that site because I'm not exactly known for keeping calm in states of emergency. Richard simply walked into the school and said, "It seems as if you forgot we were coming for the day camp for 75 students." And they were calmed by Richard's presence, as we all are, and the day camp went off without a hitch. The second part of this episode is a few years ago at our event, A Spirited Conversation for Seniors, which is an event that we love to do with senior students leading into finals in the spring term. We gather at a place for conversation and good time together. A few years ago, we were set to have this at Radical Effect. And once again, they forgot we were coming, and we showed up with a lot of people and a lot of catering, and the doors were locked. And so Pastor Priggie very calmly invented the flash mob pop-up spirited conversation, and we just set up in the parking lot and had our event until some of our students were able to sort of insta-stock the owner of Radical Effect and get them to come and open the doors. The next memory is I call the one with all the candles. Many of you will remember our beloved, my very favorite Augustana College tradition, the Joy of Christmas, started by our beloved Pastor Richard Swanson as a way to connect Augustana College, reconnect Augustana College with Jenny Lynn Chapel in Andover. You will remember walking into the chapel with all of the candles for the communion. It's beautiful, it's bucolic, it's Christmas. We love it. Well, one year we had all new candles. Have you ever tried to open a taper candle to put in a candle holder? They have cellophane on them. And if you have about 150 candles to open that all have cellophane on them, you really cannot get the Pioneer Chapel ready on time. And Richard turned to me and Leslie Kane, many of you will remember her, who was our sacristan, as we were spending much more time and effort than we thought trying to get these candles open. And he said, perhaps we ought to switch to battery candles. And the final memory I'll share is the one with no orange juice. Our campus ministry staff, often our professional staff, love to go, and John and Sonia are on here too, once a semester to the jazz brunch at the Fixed Bistro. I hope that is not a pandemic casualty. I hope it comes back. And with our brunch one day, folks were ordering items, and I went to order a mimosa, which came with our meal. And Pastor Priggie turned to me and simply said, Kristen, never dilute champagne with orange juice. And so in that spirit, Pastor Priggie, my hope and my prayer and my wish for you is that you will be here now in your retirement. And remember that help is always provided at Hogwarts for those who ask for it and those who deserve it. Thank you for your ministry and your service, and cheers.
Thank you, Kristen, so much. Those are great memories.
But Sam, I missed the punchline. Her voice faded away with the story of the candles and taking the cellophane.
He said we should get battery operated candles.
That's right. Right.
Next time you open a candle, remember that story and then think of Jenny Lynn Chapel. It took us like 2 hours to try to get the candles open.
Thank you very, very much, Kristen. Those are great memories, great stories. Thanks for making the time to be here in a hectic time in your life. And so thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Next up, we're going to hear actually from a couple of other chaplains who are on the call, as Pastor Kristen mentioned, and a few of you who also are on the call via a video that Milena actually put together. Thank you so much for your hard work, and we'll go ahead and share this now.
Pastor Priggie, congrats on your retirement. I just wanted to film this quick video and say hello, and also share with you one of my favorite memories
from our time together at Augustana. My favorite memories are scattered a bit amongst the 4 years, but essentially they are whenever you and I got to sit next to one another during a service. It could have been a Sunday morning worship. It could have been a Tuesday reflection. It could have been an Ascension Day service, but it was whenever you and I got to sit next to one another in the pews. And the reason I loved that so much is because you and I then would get to sing together for that service. And when we would sing together, you would harmonize with the melody line, you would add in your own intricacies, and I loved that. It never ceased to make me smile because as someone who identifies so deeply with music as a form of worship, you reminded me how beautiful it is and how we can create our own experience, but as a community, and we can do it together, and we only enhance one another's sound and we only enhance one another's experience. So thank you so much for the memories, for the music that we got to share together, and I wish you the best of luck in this next stage of your life.
Happy retirement, Pastor Priggie. I feel so fortunate to have been a part of your very first Harry Potter course at Augustana and to have been a part of your first Stronghold retreat and to have participated in several Heartways retreats as well. Thank you so much for being part of my story. I feel very fortunate to be a part of the legacy you're leaving behind at Augustana. Have a happy retirement because you earned it.
Hello, Pastor Priggie. Hello, Pastor Priggie. I hope you are staying safe and you're enjoying your time at home. Yeah, here again. Miss you so much, and I thought that we couldn't meet in person to tell you what you're about to say now. The past few months has been really, really odd and difficult given the ongoing pandemic. We would have loved to share the last moments of your time here at Augustana with you. You've not just been our pastor, you've been a fortress to us. You've shown us so much financial support. Also, in our spiritual group, we enjoy our time spending and sharing Bible verses with you. We really, really do miss this time.
Yeah, we are very grateful for everything you did for us. We really, really miss you. We miss all our golden times. We wish you again. We wish you all a happy and a wonderful Christian pension time. We're grateful. Thank you so much.
Very sweet.
Pastor Priggie's Jenny Goss, formerly Stelgis, class of 2007. And I just wanted to say a huge congratulations on your retirement. What an accomplishment, and what a special man. I just want to say thank you also. I think college students are at such an important point in their lives where they're just trying to figure out who they are and where they belong in the world and how they fit in. And I just think you did a fantastic job of fostering students' spirituality, but also community. I know that was my experience all 4 years of life at Augustana, and so much of it was thanks to you and your kindness and generosity. I just have so many good memories of Wednesday night chapel and services on the weekends, and then sitting around the table at lunch with campus ministries teams, sitting in your home, just so many good memories. And then when I got married, we were trying to think of like, where should we do the ceremony? Who do we want to do the ceremony? And I just could think of no one other than you. I was telling Kevin, Kevin, you don't even understand this man. He's so wonderful and so special. And he just has a way of making you feel like you're the only person in the room and the most important person. So just thank you, Pastor Priggie, so much for that, for always just making us feel valued and important.
Hello, Pastor Priggie. I'm sending you a farewell from campus so you can see what it looks like. I'm so blessed to have you in my life, and I hope you have a wonderful retirement because you well deserve it. God bless.
Hello, Richard. This is Julio checking in with you from Grand Prairie, Texas. I am told that you are retiring, and I'm wondering now why you would do such a thing when you can continue to keep having fun, right? But in all seriousness, thank you very much for your many years of service. You certainly have been a great pastor, a great spiritual care provider, a leader, and a guide to many of us. Thank you for your contributions to the church, the youth. Thank you for so much that you have provided for so many of us. May God continue to bless you. May you enjoy your very well-deserved retirement. May you continue to have health. And I'm hoping to be able to see you down the road at some point. Once again, blessings and congratulations. Bye-bye.
Congratulations to you, my dear friend and colleague. Words barely seem capable to capture your imprint on Augustana College, campus ministry, and yes, this minister. In those very early days, Richard, I remember when we were finalizing my call to Augie as associate college chaplain, I asked you, what advice would you give a first-time chaplain? And you said to me with such sincerity and without hesitation, I would tell her to go to stuff. And go to stuff I did. I went to stuff I neither understood nor appreciated at that time. But since then, I have adopted as a central tenet of ministry. Mine and the ministries now I have the privilege to shepherd and to mentor, the ministry of showing up. And so I say thank you, Richard, for showing up. Presence is as important as words, you taught me. And so I'm grateful for you showing up for me and showing me the ministry of presence in campus life and in the stuff of people's lives, chances, and changes. And so now it is my privilege to pray for you that you will be able to go to stuff, that you will be able to go to stuff in your backyard and in the backyard of your children, and through your avarice for reading, that you will be able to go to stuff. With your family, I pray that you will meet on the way, Richard, the abiding presence of the one who calls us to be and to care for the stuff that makes people whole. So Richard, I pray for you that in retirement, you may experience the whole ministry of presence.
Wow.
May it be so for you, my friend.
Hi, Pastor Priggy. It's Megan Anderson. I just wanted to say congratulations on your retirement. It is so well deserved. And thank you for everything that you have given Augustana throughout the years. You've managed to create such a wonderful, welcoming, loving, amazing environment in the campus ministries community, which is so special. And you've changed a lot of people's lives through that, including mine. And I'm so, so thankful that I got to be a part of it under you. And one of my absolute favorite memories in my college experience so far was getting to go to Appalachia on the mission trip with you. I just loved building that floor, taking all the mold out and the rot, and really getting to change around our wonderful host Linda's life, and getting to experience that with you, and going on the road trips and going through that whole experience was so wonderful and something I'll never forget. And thank you for everything, Pastor Priggy. We miss you already.
Now that you're retired, I want you to put your feet up, relax, and take a bite. And think of me when I'm still at Augie, trying to survive. I pray that you and Janice are having mounds of fun. A big socially pat on the back goes to you for a job very well done. Thanks for the laughs and the snickers we had together throughout my 16 plus years. And once this pandemic is over, we'll celebrate. I'll bring the beers. Cheers. Hugs and happy retirement. And now that you're done, remember my words of wisdom. You can never have too much fun. Richard, thanks for being you. Love ya. Just me, Connie.
Pastor Priggy, love you so much, so much. Your enthusiasm, your fire, they will carry you into whatever life brings next. You're an unstoppable force. I now imagine your approach to every day is when Dumbledore grabbed Harry in book 6 and whisks him off to go get Slughorn, and he goes, "Harry, let us step out into that night and pursue that flighty temptress adventure." Love you dearly, love you dearly. Thank you for my lessons, and may they never end.
Oh, cool.
I couldn't be more grateful for your pastoral care and friendship all these years. Thank you for leading by example, for listening intently, and for loving so many of us during the highs and lows of young adulthood. You saw me and so many of us college students through an intense season of our lives, and you helped us have faith that God's plan was good. Thank you, Pastor Priggy. I'm grateful for your ministry. It has truly made a difference. I love you, and I look forward to giving you a happy retirement hug sometime post-pandemic. Until then, be well, friend.
Hi, Pastor Priggy.
We really enjoyed having you as campus pastor last year.
We really miss you, and we hope that you have the best retirement. We hope all your family is doing well, that you're staying safe, and we're trying to make the best of the situation. Please feel free to come see us on campus anytime. We'd love to see you and hope to see you in the near future.
Hey, Pastor Priggy. I just want to thank you for everything you did for me during my freshman year. You made me feel welcomed and like a valuable part of the campus community and campus ministries as a whole. Thank you for coordinating services, even when we were quarantined. Those gave me hope even through the hard times. Good luck in retirement, and I hope to see you soon.
Pastor Priggy, just want to wish you a happy retirement. Thank you so much for everything you've done on campus and with all of us.
Hi, Pastor Priggy. We want to thank you so much for everything you've done for campus ministries and the entire Augustana community. We're going to miss you so much, but we really hope you enjoy retirement.
Hi, Pastor Priggy. I just want to wish you well in your retirement. You meant so much to the Augustana community, especially me. And I just love every moment that we had together, especially in the office. I just love seeing your bright and shining face every Wednesday and Friday morning. I love hearing you going to badminton with your friends. I hope you can keep that up in your retirement. But until then, until things get safe, I hope you and Janice are having a great time at home and you're learning to love each day in a different way.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you to all of you who submitted photos and videos. It was such a nice tribute. There's a longer version that we scaled down just to show the videos, but that longer version that includes some other great still photos will be given to Pastor Priggy as well, so he can enjoy that in all of his newfound free time, which is great. So thanks so much. Next up on the agenda is our good friend and esteemed trustee, Barbara Lundblad.
Well, this is wonderful because I mean, I'm to hear all of these things. Richard, you know, I've never really been part of your work at Augustana, so we really have known each other before, and then we've gotten acquainted again now when I've been on the board of trustees. I can tell you, this is just a strange feeling that I've had. When I first met you, I thought, I don't know if it's just because of your, you know, your wire rim glasses or the way you part your hair, but you always reminded me that of someone in those tintype photographs from many, many years ago, where you would be standing behind Janice, who would be seated in a chair, and you would be looking very serious. I don't know why I thought that, but you just seemed to me like you were from another era. And then I realized that you were exactly right for this era at Augustana. So many things others have shared, and I will try not to repeat those, but 21 years, I just realized that you were at Augustana during 2 different centuries. Which is, you know, pretty remarkable. And you, I mean, when I think of my days at Augustana, when chapel was required and Centennial Hall was filled with students, and you would even have to maybe convince somebody to sit in your seat so you wouldn't get marked absent. What a change that was by the time you were the chaplain, and there were not so many Lutherans anymore. There were far more Roman Catholics. There were probably far more people who said they had no religion at all. And you had to navigate all of that. And that was really not so easy because you had to rethink everything. And then your congregation changed every 4 years. You know, it's not like a pastor who might have people stay for a number of years. In fact, your congregation changed every year because the seniors would graduate and new freshmen would come. So you had, I'm amazed that you had flashcards. What a great story, really, that you had flashcards to remember people's names. What a way to really be committed to individual students. I mean, over 21 years, imagine how many student lives you touched, really hundreds and hundreds, and many things that we'll never know because they were stories that someone told to you that nobody else will ever heard. Or how many of those cabinet meetings, as Steve said, were shaped by your devotions rather than just, you know, let's get on to talk about the budget. Or I think about all those homes that you built with students in Appalachia, and you didn't just send them down there and say, go down there and work. You were working there alongside them, you know, hammering and tearing up floorboards and, you know, getting rid of mold. I mean, it was just, I don't think anybody will ever forget that. And some people will always think of you, I think, as a younger Professor Dumbledore or a grown-up Harry Potter. I mean, you look a little bit more like Harry Potter, actually, but to develop that course, you know, to really pick up on something that was so important in the culture and make it so relevant to students. People have already mentioned the 5 faith commitments. I want to just say a little bit more about your deep commitment to interreligious sensitivity, where you really develop these wonderful videos that help people understand, you know, other religions, Buddhism and Judaism and Hinduism and maybe Christianity even along the way. I mean, when you think of students who came to Augustana who maybe had never heard about any of those other religions and how important that became when the whole campus became a much more international community, and there were actually people who were practicing Muslims among the student body. So as a member of the board, and you know, that's been a very important thing. But I want to also say that you are a friend, and how much it's meant to me over the years that you took such a strong stand for LGBTQ people, way before the church was ready to affirm gay marriage or ordination, way before the government legalized gay marriage, to stand up at that time, you know, several years ago and say, we're going to bless civil unions here. That was a courageous thing to do. And what you've done for us as gay and lesbian people will long be remembered. And I think it's just a tribute to your real commitment to justice. On the friendship level, we have shared a good friend in common, Charles Rice. an Episcopal priest and a teacher of preaching who I came to know through my work, and you had been friends for many, many years. And I think about the loyalty that you have had with him as a friend over many years and many miles apart. You know, how you were dedicated to keeping that friendship alive through the years when he had terrible cancer, and how important you have been to him as a friend. I could see that, even though I didn't see you together, it was one of the things that connected us that we could talk about when we were together at meetings, and how you were with him to the very end, until the end of his journey when he died. Most of all, I want to think about you as a preacher. Even though I didn't hear you very often, but I would hear you at board meetings. And then I heard you this morning at the homecoming chapel. You are not a flashy preacher. I mean, you're not a jumping around kind of preacher. You're a much more quiet, thoughtful preacher that somehow you draw us in by that kind of quiet invitation. You don't coerce us. You invite us. And I just think of that sermon this morning where you know, there was some very good scholarship in there, but it was not heavy-handed. And then there were those wonderful stories about the couple that suddenly got married even though they had hardly known each other, that connected with the gospel story about these people getting up and following Jesus immediately. And then that wonderful story toward the end about the student who became so dedicated to this blind elderly man on one of the mission trips to Appalachia. And you encouraged us all to fall in love with Jesus and follow him. When I think about your preaching, I think about words that Mary Oliver shared about poems. And I'm going to take her words and put sermons instead of poems. So it goes like this. For sermons are not words, after all, but fires for the cold, ropes let down to the lost, something as necessary as bread in the pockets of the hungry. And I can say, Richard Priggie, that you have fed us so well for these 21 years. God bless you and Janice. I hope you have a wonderful time together. Be sure to spend more time together and not just by yourself golfing. But we are so grateful to everything that you have done, and I'm grateful to call you a dear friend. Thanks so much.
Oh, Barbara, thank you. Thanks so much. That means a lot.
Mary Oliver is one of his favorite poets.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Ah, well, mine too.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you very much. Next, we have Gray Giovanni. Gray. You got to unmute, Gray. Come on. There we go.
I don't know how to follow that, Barbara. That was beautiful. Just for context, Richard and his family came to Augustana 21 years ago, and I came with my wife, Kelly, and our family the same time. And we both left Augustana at the same time. But in between, we spent quite a lot of time together, in part because our children were the same age. Two of our sons, as Richard mentioned earlier, were identical ages, same class. So it wasn't long until I found myself on a wooden Little League bench as a volunteer assistant coach next to Pastor Richard Priggie. And we were somewhat of a, I'm going to say, a yin and yang. One of us was very demonstrative, very vocal, very animated.
Who was
the
that?
other was very patient, very composed. I'll let you guess which was which. But it wasn't unusual for me to maybe admonish one of these 8 or 9-year-olds that I didn't think were performing up to their capability, only to turn and see moments later where Pastor Priggy would have an arm around them, encouraging them and lifting their confidence and their spirits. And I would like to think, in fact, I'm certain that it was a great influence on my coaching. I learned a lot about how to reach kids coaching Little League with Pastor Richard Priggie. 3 things came to mind. That was one of them. The second was that shortly after Richard and Janice arrived in the Quad Cities, they turned their backyard into a social center by building a swimming pool. And in my time at Augustana, the beginning and ending of the school year for most of those years was marked by a pool function at the Priggies. My 3 sons would join Richard and Janice's 2 boys and their daughter, and we would celebrate the beginning and ending right around Labor Day, Memorial Day. And as I look back now, I also remember that almost each year, there was always a newcomer to the Augustana faculty that was joining us. Richard and Janice were welcoming someone new to the Augustana community and extending their home to them. And then I think the other thing, and I want to back up just one second, because I heard somebody mention badminton, and as patient and composed and compassionate as Pastor Priggy is, I played badminton one time and he was a killer. So make no mistake about the competitive fire that was in Pastor Richard Priggy. And the last thing I would add is I'm just like so many on this call or that have spoken. I think of Richard a little bit like I think of Ghostbusters. Who are you going to call? A month ago, I was asked to officiate my niece's wedding. And who are you going to call? And I spoke to Pastor Priggy, and of course, he gave me all kind of great direction and confidence and encouragement, just like he used to do with the Little League kids that we were coaching. So like so many of you and so many that have encountered Pastor Priggy through the years, I can't imagine somebody that I would rather be counting on for counsel. So Janice, Richard, as you guys move into the next phase, just as Kelly and I are, I'm sure I'll be calling for counsel once again. But we love you and wish you the very best as you move forward in this next journey, phase of your journey. God bless.
Thanks, Grady, you and Kelly, for your friendship. And really treasure it.
Thank you so much, Gray. Next, we have some other longtime friends of the Priggies, and that's John and Sonia Hurdy.
Hi. We just wanted to say a few words about Richard and Janice and about our time together, both as friends and as colleagues.
Yeah, it's been such a blessing to be friends and neighbors. We actually live right next to them and have often been over at their pool, and colleagues over the years. It's been so wonderful. And our families have grown up together, and we have so many wonderful shared memories of being with Richard and Janice so often. What I remember most about working with Richard is his kind and generous heart and his positive spirit. And what I admire most about Richard is his ability to look for the best qualities in everyone that he touches and is with, and his ability to bring out those best qualities. I admire that very much. So I just want to say congratulations, Richard, and may you be so blessed in your retirement as you have been a blessing to us.
And I just wanted to say, add into the neighbor part of what we do, that it's always such a pleasure. We, especially now during COVID, when we can't really get together with people, we have this, we have a fire pit that's right in between our backyards. And we've had so many opportunities to sit together and chat and hear all of the wisdom that Richard has to share over the most important thing, which is a glass of French red wine, which is something that Richard is particularly good at knowing about and drinking. So I do want to say a couple other things about working with Richard in the Campus Ministries program. And I want to talk a little bit, just briefly, about his love of liturgy and of hymnody, and also how he shares that with other people. I really appreciate Richard's open mind when it comes to liturgy and to music that involved in worship. And I know that Richard's heart has always been very close to Lutheran hymnody. Emily mentioned it about how when you're with him and singing with him in church. But I have a memory of one of the first times that we got together with Richard and Janice. When our kids were very small, we went over to their house they invited us over to their house for dinner one time. And one of the activities that was part of the evening was getting together and standing around the piano and singing Lutheran hymns. That is not a common activity for people who get together for dinner, but that was something that we did with Richard and Janice and the family. And it was just so amazing to think about that as being part of not just what you do at church, but what you do as a person. And Richard shared that. It was so wonderful. The fact that he is so interested in Lutheran liturgy and hymnody, though, did not stop him from opening up his mind and helping other people to be open to other alternatives. And so even though he had a love of Lutheran liturgy and hymnody, one of the things that I really appreciate about what Richard brought to the Campus Ministries program was his ability to be open to liturgy and song and hymnody, and trying to make that reach mostly the students that were a part of the Campus Ministries program. It was so important to him that he would put aside his own love sometimes of particular kind of liturgy or music to help reach the students that we worked with. And so it's been a real pleasure for us to be able to share sort of the end of Richard's tenure here at Augustana. And it's been a real joy for us to have the opportunity to share our lives as friends with Richard and Janice, and also to be able to have spent time as colleagues and learning from Richard through the Campus Ministries program at Augustana. So thanks, Richard and Janice.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sonia and John, so much for your friendship. I often tell colleagues of mine at other campuses that worshiping at Augustana on Sunday morning or Wednesday evening is a little like dying and going to heaven, just because the music is so good Sunday after Sunday. So it really has been fun. We've been friends for quite a while and colleagues, but to really work closely together the last few years has been a special treat for me too.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Sonia, very much. Jason Mon, you're next.
So I have the good pleasure to present a couple of gifts to Richard and Janice. But first, I just want to say I'm so grateful that we were able to make this work. I'm sorry that we're seeing each other through a screen, but I'm so happy that we're seeing one another and seeing alumni here, and hearing these stories about Richard is just great. I have a stack of these cards. When we were planning to celebrate Richard's retirement in May, we were going to have a special Ascension Day service and another Sunday worship service, and Kristen Glass Perez was going to fly over here and preach. And if anyone can think of something to do with about 400 of these invitations, we'll do something, maybe a collage or something. But I'm glad we're here in October celebrating your ministry. Richard and Janice, your friendship has meant a lot to me and to my family. Everything from hand-me-down clothes from your boys to our boys, to being invited as a new faculty member to those pool parties. Richard, you have helped me understand what it means for Augustana to be a Lutheran college, and even more so, being a pastoral presence in my life and so many others. I'm just deeply, deeply grateful. So my own thanks as well. As a community, Augustana community, present and past, and maybe even future, we gave you some gifts, and each of these gifts are gifts that you've given us and that we're giving back, and I know you're going to be able to give them on to others as well. So when you came into the room there on campus, you saw a signed photo, one of my favorite photos, and I know so many of us like it, of you in Ascension Chapel with the stained glass in the background. And because of COVID, it was hard to pass this around and have all the signatures we'd like on it. So Richard, as you meet with people, graduates and colleagues and friends who love you so dearly, you friends, be sure to ask to sign the mat in the photo. So I give you permission to drop by Richard and Janice's house anytime and just ask to sign the mat.
Got it. I can do that.
So, that's one of the gifts there in back of you. The other that you knew was coming, because it's really a gift you gave us, is a collection of 10 of Richard's sermons that he preached over 21 years. Richard went through some of his sermons and picked out ones that he thought were meaningful to him and that he knew were meaningful to others. They're really beautiful sermons. As Barbara was saying, they are soft-spoken. You can hear Richard's gentle voice inviting us to rest in God's grace and to receive those promises and the promise of hope and new life. And so we're publishing these sermons. We'll have a number of copies that we'll let Richard send to folks, and they'll also be available in the Augustana bookstore and on the Augustana bookstore website. And for those of us who purchase it, all the money, because Steve Balls, President Balls, and his office paid for all these books, all the money that goes from purchasing the books will go to the third gift for Richard, which is the Richard W. Priggie Fund for Student Spiritual Exploration. It's a fund that we at Augustana have set up that will allow students who want to go to the Taizé community in France, or on these alternative spring break service trips to Appalachia or other places, or maybe high impact J terms, where the fund will be there for students, enabling them to spiritually explore and do deep vocational discernment and be a part of campus ministries, even those in the future. So Richard, thank you. Those are all gifts that you gave us and that we're giving back to you. So honored to be in your presence and to be touched by your ministry.
Thank you, Jason, and thanks for all of the creativity and the hard work that you put into making today possible. We had some different obstacles, but I think it just really came together to be something, well, I'm deeply touched by. So, and I am looking forward to the book of sermons and the fund for spiritual exploration. Although I can't think of two gifts that I would feel better about than those two, which again, I'm really touched by that. So thank you.
Thank you. I think if it's okay with you, Richard, maybe we'll just go into your remarks at this point, and then we'll wrap up.
That would be great. Well, I'm honestly speechless. Just trying to take in to myself the praise and the thanksgiving that we've all shared around my ministry, but I'd say we've all shared around our ministry together. Honestly, I have a story about every single one of you. I can see, like probably you can, or at least I hope you can now, all of the different people on the call in the little squares. And, if I went down, I'd start with Kristen, and then I'd go down to Melina, and then down to Steve. And doggone it, I've got a story about every one of you. For many of you, I've got multiple stories, and they're good stories. They're stories about times that we've shared together, whether it's sitting. I love the image, Emily, of sitting next to you on the pew and singing together. I love that image. Also, Barbara's highlighted the Appalachia trip and others, which was a real kind of down and dirty. I mean, that was hard work, as well as, but we built some friendships that were you couldn't build by just showing up together on campus Sunday after Sunday. Spending a whole week together doing hard work was a fertile ground for friendship. So I get to reflect. I mean, one of the things about retirement is that I get to reflect more. I don't have to accomplish particular tasks. I can step back from what I've done and what we've done together, and kind of give thanks for all the times, all the ministry, all the friendship that we've shared together. And as I've been doing so, I can't get out of my mind, there are two words that really my memories of the past years are coalescing around, and the words are privilege and joy. And I just feel tremendously privileged by the ability to share with each of you our love for Augustana and our commitment to what Augustana does for students regularly. I am privileged. I've been privileged to work alongside Steve Balls. When I came here, the president was Tom Treadway, who was one of my teachers. In fact, he was one of my favorite teachers, a Western Civ professor, then turned president. And it was special to serve alongside Tom for those 4 years. But Steve has really been a godsend. And, not only do we know him as someone who's calm and, well organized, he also, he has a deep commitment to his faith, and that's come through from the very, very beginning of when I've known Steve. The 5 faith commitments was really his energy and his priority. I was privileged to be a part of it, but it was really Steve's priority, and it's been so important. I agree, Steve, that you and I have been friends as well as colleagues, and I'm looking forward to that friendship continuing in the years that we'll have ahead now as retired folk. But then joy, and joy too. One of my favorite Bible stories is the Christmas story. Remember, the angels sing to the shepherds out in the fields, "Behold, I bring you" what? Good news. I bring you good news of a great joy. Probably that's the one word that I would use if pressed to summarize the privilege that I've had of being chaplain, is the word joy. How much joy have we shared at worship twice a week? How much joy have we shared down in Appalachia and getting there and coming back? How much joy have we experienced around the story of Harry Potter? how much joy for some of you being on the leadership team or serving in another way through campus ministries. So, you know, I just end by saying thank you all from the bottom of my heart for the privilege and the joy of 21 years in ministry. And the final word has got to go to two amazing women in my life. The first you saw up on the screen, her name is Connie Huntley. She's been here as executive secretary of campus ministries almost as long as I've been at Augustana. You know, when Pastor April and Pastor Julio and Pastor Kristen, when they and I, you know, we're in ministry together, we were asked to say, well, okay, who are your colleagues? We always said, well, we have 5 chaplains at Augustana, and you know, wait a minute, count them out. Priggy, let's see, Johnson, Cruz. Who's the 5th? Okay, the 5th, Jenny Stelges, you're smiling right at me there. You know who the 5th one is. It's Connie Huntley, who often had a greater role in the lives of our students than any of us ordained folk did, huh? It was Connie who would hold students' hands, especially first-year students just coming in, would tell them it's going to be okay, and you come back and see me again tomorrow, she'd say. It's Connie with all her Connie-isms, which are all of the remarkable, what would you call them, Sam? Kind of folk cliches, or well, something like
Yeah,
that.
it's being recorded, so I'll be careful with what I call them. But,
okay, that's good. Yeah, but so Connie, I mean, it's just been amazing in so many ways. And then, of course, I want to highlight, my wife, Janice. We've been married for 43 years, and she's been right alongside of me the whole time. And she's been a part of the ministry that we've all shared in really important ways, sometimes behind the scenes. Of course, all of you don't see the private scenes, which is a lot of encouragement. Janice, when I started out in ministry this was during my internship in Amherst, Massachusetts. When I was to preach the next day, I would force Janice to listen to my sermon on Saturday night, knowing that her advice and her reaction could be counted upon to be, you know, always really valuable. And over the years, I've kind of outgrown that need, but doggone it if she doesn't make really wonderful, I would say encouraging, supportive advice on whether it's preaching or anything else in my life. So Janice, I love you so much, and thanks for being right alongside of me the whole way.
Thank you. I love you too.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you all so much. It means more to me than you will know, and I'll review this day and our comments to one another. I would only wish to speak, you know, directly to some of the people who didn't have the chance to speak. So Sam, what do you advise about that? Or
yeah, if you'd like to hang out for a little bit, you're more than welcome to. We'll be here, and if you'd like to speak right now or at some point, you can go ahead and put your name in the chat, and I'll call on folks so that way you can share anything else you'd like to share. But obviously, we want to also be respectful of people's time on a Sunday afternoon. And before we do that, I just want to also point out it's great to see so many of you on this call, especially the Priggy children who are phoning in, and granddaughter Madeline from San Francisco. So great to see you all, and Nate too. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
So if you can stay around, those of you who haven't spoken, just for, you know, not a long time, but a little time, just to say hi. But if you have to leave, please do that too. Thank you all so much.
Thanks. You.
Lucy and Bill, You're among the oldest of the alumni. Ha ha ha.
Hi,
trying to-
we're unmuting ourselves. Sorry, I'm on my phone, so we don't have like a chit
You're,
chat thing.
you're
but
good.
Anyway, sorry, we're just saying hi. My phone's gonna die, but we wanted to say hello and we love you and we thank you, and we don't think of Augustana without thinking of you. And especially come our anniversary where we always think of you. So
Yes,
thanks
yes.
for marrying us. Yeah.
Thanks for your Christmas cards too.
We'll
You're
keep
welcome.
them coming. Thank you.
Love your boys.
Oh yeah. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Brittany Burke, how you doing, girl?
I'm so good. I'm so glad I got to hop on.
I know. I still am bummed that we missed our chance to be an Appalachian one last time. But what are you gonna do, right?
I know, but I have to tell you, I got second place in a euchre tournament, and there's no better person that I'd rather lose to than you, Pastor. So
Very funny,
good
Brittany.
way to go out.
Yeah, you've got to get your name down on that elegant trophy that we have.
I know. Congratulations, Pastor. You really impacted my life at Augustana, and gosh, I was one of those scared little freshmen that you learned the name of. So I was thinking back today just how much you've impacted my life, and it's been really incredible. So I just wish you all the best in your retirement.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's stay in touch, okay?
Yes.
Chris Bender, are you still on?
There's Chris.
Oh, there.
We are here, yes.
Yay.
Yeah, I think we also fall into the old alumni club.
Yeah. I think that's.
So we
Look how good you look for being so old.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
We just wanted to say congratulations. We graduated in 2000, but Pastor Priggy married us in 2005. He also baptized Chris the night before our wedding. And I worked in the alumni relations office after I graduated for a year or so, and spent a lot of time with Pastor Priggy during that year. That's still very meaningful to me. And a lot of those memories came flooding back today. So it was just important for us to say congratulations and thank you for the impact you've had on our life, the faith community that we're a part of in Chicago. As I was listening to all this, so reflects you, and the influence you had on our life is obvious even all these years later. So thank you, and just congratulations.
Yes, I echo all of that. I think definitely our time spent with you was very meaningful. I know that we didn't have a lot of overlap during your time at Augustana. We were graduating in 2000, but just thinking back on 15 plus years ago when we were married in August of 2005, and just how meaningful it was to have been baptized by you. And I still very fondly remember kind of going through all the preparations for baptism, and just going through word by word, the things that were going to be said, and picking out the meaning of each word and what it meant, and how important it was to kind of embrace all that as part of the process. And I think, prior to that point, I hadn't been overly religious, and to be completely honest, the baptism was, a desire certainly on one hand, but part spiritual insurance policy, as it were, that was recommended by Kelly, just in case something were to have happened, that I'd be covered, I'd be good. But I think that really it started me on my spiritual journey, and allowed me, along with Kelly, to kind of find our faith community and find more meaning and solace and peace in religion. And that's definitely been something that I've carried with me these years. And I think that I credit a lot of that to you for sort of introducing me to that and encouraging me along that path.
Oh,
So thank you.
That's great. Yeah, I remember your wedding, and give thanks. Yeah, that was a happy day.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thanks. Amanda, hello, Amanda. And Mallory was on earlier too. I don't know if she's still.
Yeah, Mallory had to hop off, but she says congratulations.
Thanks. How are you?
It's so
Good. It's great to catch up and see like so many people too that I recognize. And you have really just throughout the time at Augie, you know, from like so many people have said when they were a brand new freshman, just feeling so special that you knew my name and feeling so welcomed. And you have just been a part of my Augie journey so much. I just think back on, you know, the Heartways retreats and the spring break trips and, you know, Wednesday evening chapel and the Bible study. Those Wednesday evening Bible studies, I think back on those so much. They were huge. And, you know, my faith journey. So I really appreciate, you know, all of you've done for me and for everyone else too. And it's definitely a well-deserved retirement for you. I hope you have lots of adventures and, you know, enjoy a lot of time to, you know, do whatever you want to pursue.
Thank you, Amanda. You're one of the people I've got a lot of memories of because you were involved in a lot of different, as you name them now, a lot of different things. So we became good friends, and so thanks.
Congratulations again.
Thanks. Hi, Jane.
Okay, unmuted here. Congratulations, just on a journey well run, and we'll always remember your gentle presence. And Janice and I, well, we're texting all the time and doing silly cat stuff, and I appreciate your not objecting too loudly when I gave her a kitten.
That's the gift that keeps giving.
True.
Through that.
It's an awfully
Through that.
cute gift.
Yes, a fluffy present. But no, we I appreciate your gentle presence and your wisdom, even from Harry Potter, I can say as one fan to another about the theological truths contained therein, and all that meant to so many students over the years. And my daughter was immensely disappointed when she realized that by having signed up for the foundations, the honors course, that it meant that she wasn't going to be able to take your Harry Potter class. And she's like, man, did she make the wrong decision?
You had me instead, Jane. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jason. I didn't mean to. lucky her then to get to have you. But you can't do everything good in this world. But you came pretty close, so thank you for that.
You've been a huge gift, not just to Janice and myself, but to Augustana in so many ways. So I'm glad to have a chance to say thanks to you for that.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Esther, you did a great job reading scripture this morning. That was
Thanks.
Great. Yeah. Hope your second year is starting out to be good.
Yes.
Good. And Karsten, and who's that other guy? Is that Carl over there?
Hi, Pastor Priggy. Yeah, it's Carl.
Congratulations, Pastor Priggy.
Thank you. I miss you guys. How are you?
Yeah, we miss you too. Campus just isn't the same without you being around there. I miss seeing you walk around in your big bomber jacket.
No, I'm pulling it out now as the weather's getting.
Excellent.
And Jared and Henry are there. Yay. How are you guys?
Hi, Pastor Priggy. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too. How's your second year starting out?
It's good. It's really good. Campus is so much different with all the precautions with COVID and everything, but I'm just so glad we're here. And it's so good to see you. You know, we wish we could have been in person, obviously, to wish you a great retirement, but you know, this will do. So we hope that you are doing okay, and we wish you all the best in the next coming years. And please feel free to visit us. We would love to see you again in person.
I look forward to it. Thanks. Hey, the newlyweds, Josh and Becca. How's marriage treating you?
Good.
Pretty well.
Yeah, we're over here in Denver, Colorado, doing some music therapy internships.
Wow.
Yeah, and we just want to say congratulations.
Yes.
And a big thank you for our wedding in June. It was nothing like we anticipated, but it was really awesome.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm looking forward to the party.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We
We'll
are
party
as
hard.
Yeah. So Josh and Becca had their wedding this past May, right? June, past June, and they're having their party this coming summer. So
that's the plan.
That's the pandemic, the way pandemics change the best laid plans. So great. That was, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much again, and congratulations to you, and good to see you too, Janice.
Yes, of course.
Good to see you.
Julio, how good it is to see you. How are you?
I am good. Thank you very much, Richard. It's such a thrill to see you again. You know, I didn't stay for a long time at Augustana, but what years were those? Between you and Larry, and certainly our beloved sister Marilyn, Connie. I mean, I'm sure there have been crews in Augustana over the years, but we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. You are you left an impression in my life, more important than I think you realize, and for that I'm very, very grateful. So happy retirement. Enjoy yourself, and blessings.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I agree. Your ministry was profound here. And yeah, and the combination of you, Connie, and Sam we haven't seen the likes of that, you know, since you.
Your time on campus may have been short, Julio, but you left quite the mark on our lives. So
thank you, Sam.
Yeah,
good to see you too.
Great to see.
And you know, you still drive Pearl? That VW that you used to have?
We sold Pearl.
How could you?
I know, yes, I know, but she's with a wonderful new owner who works at Augustana.
Right. Tell the other people who Pearl is.
Pearl is a 1960, Barbara, this was a gift from Charles Rice. Pearl was a 1965 Volkswagen Beetle with the color was pearl.
Yeah, she was cream color.
Yeah, so they called her Pearl. And Charles, my friend, got into a point where he just was never driving the car, and so he wanted to give her to someone who would appreciate it, and that was thankfully me. So we had Pearl, and we had a lot of fun with Pearl for a long time, as Julio is suggesting. But the time came when it was too much for us too. You know, it was just taking up
sitting
space.
there, Julio, in the garage, and you know, yeah.
So I found out of this other employee at Augustana who really loves vintage cars like that. And what is his name? I'm forgetting. Brandon.
Thank you.
Yeah. Brandon. Yeah. And he is taking great care of Pearl and enjoys her a lot.
And takes her to old car shows.
Yeah,
and,
all of that.
So she's out and about, Julio, much more than she was in our garage.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, blessings to all, and it's great to see all these happy faces, friendly faces. Thank you.
It truly is.
Great to hear you.
How about Kathy Janicek? Are you there, Kathy?
Maybe she had to go.
Maybe she's dialed in, but she's still muted. She might just be. Oh,
now?
There we go. Now we can.
There she is.
Hi, okay. Hi. Listen, I was listening to all this, and you say old alumni graduated in 2000. For those of you who don't know, Richard and I were in the same class, 1974, and I've been thinking about several things, Richard. Weren't you and I and Larry Barker and Phil McKinley the ones that had the freshmen compete in homecoming sing?
Yes.
Weren't you one of those people?
Yes, I was. Mm-hmm.
And we won. The sororities and fraternities hated us because we did our own homecoming sing and the freshmen won.
Right.
So that's my first memory of you, and it you know, and I was thinking that was you, and that's one thing. Second thing is our daughter is one of those people you have affirmed. She married her love, and they live in Milwaukee, and they even combine their names. I think some of you, Beth Janicek, class of 2007, and Shannon Paul, 2008. They are now the Polisics. And they had their names legally changed. They put it together, and they're the Polisics. Wow. And I know your affirmation had a lot to do with that.
That's so good. That's so good. Beth
and they're just doing great up in Milwaukee, except that it's Wisconsin, so I pray for them all the time with the COVID thing. But they're very careful. And then I'm going to get a little choked up here, Richard. The third thing is, so many things I heard about you today reflect, I think, a mentor that both of us had, and that was Richard Swanson. And I've always felt such a connection, even though I've been in and out. I've gone to the service of Christmas and all that, that so many of the things that I'm hearing about you today were things that he taught me, and I suspect were a great influence on your life. And he's listening right now and so proud and so happy. And I just want to wish you congratulations.
Thank you so much, Kathy. That's a great memory of Swanee, who was definitely had a significant impact on my sense of calling. Well, thanks everyone. Sam, you want to pick it up from here? I think this has just been great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's so nice to see everyone. Thanks for staying on and for sharing memories. And it's been wonderful to see a lot of familiar faces. And I think that we all can agree that we're better people for knowing Richard and Janice. And we look forward to many more years of friendship with you in this new way, and wish you nothing but the best, really. We're excited for you. So peace to all of you. Enjoy your evening and have a great week ahead.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jason. Thanks.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, everyone.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wow.
Thank you, Barbara.